Palm Jumeirah cost about $12 billion. It took 94 million cubic meters of sand from the Gulf seabed. 7 million tons of rock ring the island. Today, thousands of people live there. They wake up beside blue water. They drive past hotels, pools, and private beaches. The monorail carries guests along the trunk. At the far end, Atlantis rises in pink towers above shark tanks and water slides. Under all of it sits sand. That sand has been settling since the first dredger arrived. Satellite radar measured the ground moving down by roughly 5 millimeters each year, between 2003 and 2008. At the same time, Gulf waters around Dubai were rising by more than 3 millimeters a year. Together, those two movements can reduce the island's height above the water by almost a centimeter each year. Over a century, that could mean close to a meter before storms and erosion add their own force. So is Palm Jumeirah sinking? The answer depends on what that word means. Reclaimed land settles as its grains press together. The real question is whether Dubai can keep the island high, dry, and stable for decades. Palm Jumeirah began with a simple problem. Dubai had about 70 kilometers of natural coastline. Luxury tourism demanded far more beachfront. In 2001, the state-backed developer Nakheel chose to build land in the sea. The plan took the shape of a palm tree. One trunk ran out from the coast. 17 fronds spread from its sides. A long crescent breakwater wrapped around the whole project. That shape created more than 50 kilometers of new private beachfront. Every curve had a price. The island was built from sand dredged from the Gulf floor. Desert sand was sitting nearby in huge amounts, yet engineers needed a different kind. Wind rounds desert grains until they slide past one another. Marine sand has rougher grains. Those grains grip each other better under heavy weight. Belgian and Dutch dredging firms sprayed the wet sand into place using a method called rainbow dredging. Water and sand shot through the air in wide arcs. GPS systems guided the crews toward each planned section of the palm. From above, the outline slowly appeared. A blank stretch of sea became a trunk, then the fronds, then the crescent. 5.5 million cubic meters of quarried rock formed much of the breakwater, which runs about 11 kilometers. The sand still had a serious weakness. Freshly placed sand contains gaps in water. When buildings, roads, and other loads press down, those gaps shrink. The ground settles. Shaking can make the danger worse. Loose, wet sand may lose its strength during an earthquake tremor. Engineers used vibrating probes for vibrocompaction. The probes pushed deep into the new ground and shook the sand grains closer together. The work made the island firm enough for villas, roads, hotels, and tunnels. The villas on the fronds sit on this compacted fill. Their foundations reach into reclaimed ground. They do not stand on piles driven down to ancient bedrock. That detail changes the picture in your head. A luxury home may have marble floors, glass walls, and a private beach. Beneath the garden, the ground is still a young man-made layer. By 2007, Palm Jumeirah had opened. Thousands of homes and apartments filled the island. Tens of thousands of residents, renters, hotel guests, and visitors could be there at one time. Then the water inside the palm began causing trouble. The crescent blocked much of the natural flow between the fronds. Warm water sat in the lagoons. Oxygen levels fell. Engineers had to cut openings into the breakwater so the tides could move through. The island had gained beaches. It had also changed the sea around Dubai. Dredging clouded the Gulf and buried coral and seagrass beds. New currents pushed against older beaches, and some shoreline areas faced more erosion. The palm had become a machine that needed adjustment. The biggest warning was still ahead. In December 2009, Fugro NPA published results from 5 years of satellite checks. The survey firm had watched the island from 2003 through 2008. Its radar system could detect ground movement measured in millimeters. Fugro reported settlement of roughly 5 millimeters each year. The timing could hardly have been worse. Dubai's property market had crashed. Nakheel had posted billions in losses. Its parent company, Dubai World, was seeking a freeze on payments tied to $59 billion of debt. A sinking island story could scare buyers and lenders at the worst possible moment. Nakheel called the findings false and based on guesswork. The company argued that such movement would cause clear damage. Walls would crack, pipes would leak, windows would break. Fugro stood by its radar results. Part of the fight came down to how the movement was measured. Nikhil questioned whether NASA altimeters could track a change that small. Fugro had used a different tool called interferometric radar. It compares radar images taken at different times. Tiny shifts in the ground change the returning signal. Nikhil also accepted that the island had settled after construction. Man-made land does that as sand packs tighter under weight. So the argument centered on the rate and the risk. 5 millimeters sounds tiny. A pencil is wider than that. But coastal risk grows through small changes repeated year after year. If the land moves down while the sea moves up, the gap between homes and high water closes from both ends. The island extends about 5 kilometers into the Gulf. Its outer crescent takes the first hit from waves and shamal winds. During rough weather, water can eat at beaches, move sand, and press against the rocks. Every lost section must be checked and repaired. That means fresh surveys. It means more sand on thin beaches. Navigation channels may need dredging. Breakwater rocks may need added support. Drainage and seawalls may need changes as water levels rise. Palm Jumeirah still works because Dubai keeps paying for those jobs. A few kilometers away, other projects show what happens when work slows down. Palm Jebel Ali was shaped during the same building boom. It was larger than Palm Jumeirah, with its own trunk, fronds, and crescent. Then the 2008 financial crash stopped much of the work. For about 15 years, large parts remained bare sand. There were no rows of lived-in villas holding attention on the project. No packed hotel district brought in steady income. Waves and wind kept working on the shore while construction waited. Dubai has since revived Palm Jebel Ali with new funding. Yet its long pause exposed the cost of building land before the homes and roads are ready. The world islands offered an even clearer warning. Roughly 300 small islands were placed offshore in the shape of a world map. Buyers were promised private pieces of countries, reached by boat or helicopter. Wealthy investors bought names on a plan. Much of the planned building never followed. Court proceedings later included claims that the islands were eroding and that sand was filling navigation channels. Nikhil denied those claims. Over the following decade, satellite images showed some shorelines losing their sharp planned shapes. A few edges appeared to soften or move toward nearby islands. A small section became a resort. It has floating villas and imported snow. Across much of the map, bare sand still meets the tide. The sea does not pause when a building loan does. It keeps moving sand, wearing down edges, and filling shallow channels. Maintenance decides which islands hold their shape. Palm Jumeirah shows how plans can change before the sea gets a chance. It was once planned as a far larger palm, with room for more than 1 million people. The project was later cut down and remade as a simpler chain of coastal islands. Each change points to the same limit. Reclaimed land needs enough income to pay for its care. The height of that land also matters. Raising an island by 1 extra meter takes millions of added cubic meters of sand. That adds time and cost before a single home is sold. Developers often build close to the water because buyers want sea views and easy beach access. That choice leaves less room when the water rises. The Persian Gulf is warming at a rapid rate. Warmer water expands. Melting land ice adds more water to the oceans. Local tides, winds, and storm waves then push water above the average level for short periods. A villa can stay dry through years of calm weather. One storm can still reveal a weak seawall or a low road. Water enters through the lowest point it can find. Then it reaches garages, power lines, pumps, and buried pipes. Cities such as Miami already spend large sums on pumps and raised roads. Jakarta has faced far worse ground loss, driven in part by heavy use of groundwater. Indonesia is moving its capital away from Jakarta as flooding and sinking keep growing. Dubai faces different ground conditions, yet the same basic math applies. A coast becomes harder to defend when the land drops and the water rises. Palm Jumeirah has several lines of defense. Its crescent takes much of the wave force. Crews can replace beach sand. Survey teams can spot movement. Engineers can add rock or change water flow when a weak point appears. Dubai also has money, skilled workers, and a strong reason to protect the island. Palm Jumeirah is packed with costly homes and famous hotels. Empty sand can be left alone for years. An island full of people cannot. That makes the word sinking easy to misuse. Palm Jumeirah is not vanishing under the Gulf today. Roads still carry traffic. Guests still sleep at Atlantis. Families still step from villas onto private beaches. But the measured settlement matters because it never works alone. It joins sea level rise, beach loss, wave damage, and the slow wear found in every pipe, tunnel, and rock wall. The danger grows when those small pressures meet a bad year. A deep property crash can cut repair budgets. A strong storm can remove sand faster than crews replace it. A damaged breakwater can allow larger waves into the lagoons. Money has to arrive before the damage spreads. That is the hidden price behind the $12 billion figure. Construction bought the first version of Palm Jumeirah. It did not buy a finished piece of land that can be ignored. Each new survey, load of sand, and block of rock becomes part of the island's real lifetime cost. Dubai proved that engineers can place a palm tree in open water. The satellite data also showed that its ground still follows the rules of wet sand and heavy weight. For now, the lights stay on. The villas stand. The crescent holds back the Gulf. But if the dredgers, survey teams, and repair crews ever stop, the sea will keep working every hour.